And I'm like, okay, that was weird. Like, did I imagine that? Like, is my mind playing tricks on me? So now I'm like focused on the laser, not focused on the door anymore. And as I'm watching, I'm literally getting chills as I'm explaining
Yeah, you have goosebumps.
this. What's up everyone, Tyler Medeiros here and welcome to TylerMedeirosTV. For those of you who are not subscribed, you can subscribe down below so you don't miss a video. And for those of you that are, welcome back. Today's video, I'm joined here with Haley and we're going to be talking about something interesting and spooky at the same time. We're going to be giving you guys our paranormal experience update about this house.
I don't know how interesting it is for us, per se. I mean, in a sense it kind of is, but it'll definitely be interesting for you guys, because if you've been following along on my channel, I've been giving you guys a little bit of updates along the way, but there are some things that have happened recently that have just taken everything to the utmost next level, and basically that's what we're going to be sharing.
A lot of these things are just absolutely unbelievable.
Unexplainable.
Yes. And the first thing I'm going to start off with is one of the most strange experiences we've had, and this is the fire alarm one.
Yeah, so I did mention this on my channel, but for those of you who are here on TylerMedeirosTV, you have yet to hear this update.
So how this happened, it was strange because it happened for, I would say, what, 4 days in a row?
Yeah, at least 3.
Yeah, it was like 3-4 days in a row.
I do want to mention quickly that so much has been happening within this home since we moved in here 3 years ago that it's almost like we have to sit back and remind ourselves of all the things, because there's just so much.
So every day for the 3-4 days at 8 in the morning, like exact same time, we'd be sleeping and the fire alarm would go off. So right away, you're sleeping, you're like, oh my God, fire alarm's going off. Like, no one's cooking, no one's in the house, so what's going on? So right away, I'm running around the house, like, trying to find out, like, where's this fire? I go to the basement, the main floor, upstairs, like, all the rooms, and I'm like, okay, there's no smoke, there's nothing that would trigger it.
And on that note as well, we also have a separate carbon monoxide detector that we have within our wall that was purchased besides our smoke detectors that also test for carbon monoxide. So we knew that it wasn't that. And ironically as well, we were fanning the fire alarm even though we knew there was no smoke, which is funny looking back now in hindsight. But that's
like, what else can you do, right? Like, the dogs are freaking out, so we're like, okay, what else can we do? Let's just fan like the main ones that it could be. Yeah. And then eventually, like, it would go off. The first time it happened, I'm like, okay, maybe like dust triggered it, whatever. So I like wipe it down. There was no dust on it anyways, but I'm like, let's double check. Let's make sure. And it happened for 3 more days after that at the exact same time.
So what I want to add to this as well is that after the very first incident of the smoke detector going off, we were shooken up. I mean, any time that you're woken up out of your sleep with any alarm, it is alarming. And so we started Googling like what could be the cause of that. And there were a couple of different causes that were obviously not related to the paranormal. I do want to make that very clear. And we had kind of looked through them all, one of which was that it was faulty wiring. Another was that the batteries were dying. There was a couple of different things, but for hours.
Also when the battery's dying, it will give you a sign and say like low battery or like something like that, or like a certain light will flash. So we're like, okay, it's not that.
And our smoke detectors both have batteries and are wired into the house itself. So it wouldn't be that the battery was dying anyways. But we were doing the checklist, and the reason I'm reiterating this is because there will be people who will say with this particular incident that it's natural causes, that these things happen. Let's wait until we get into the next part. But we did do all of the logical steps of like, what could this be? Because we didn't want it to keep happening. Like, it was
and also terrifying. We didn't want it to happen like throughout the day when we're not home and the dogs are home and they're freaking out and like they don't know what to do and they're listening to it, right? So we're like, okay, we got to figure this out. We don't want it to keep happening. Yeah. But it was literally only at that exact time, 8 in the morning for 3-4 days.
So I want to mention very quickly, we also were having some issues with a couple of our devices. That's just little things that we're not going to bother getting into today because there's a whole bunch of stuff to share with you that's much larger. But at this point, I had received a call from Lana, who you guys would know on my channel, who is a very good friend of mine and Tyler's and is an evidential medium. And essentially, we were advised that she believed it was some spirit activity and suggested that perhaps we verbally let whatever this may be know that if it is, whether it's a sign to get her attention or
just messing with us,
with
like
it,
being mischievous.
So we both actually said out loud, I know this sounds crazy, but we were like, hey, you know, if this is you, if this is spirit activity,
cut it out.
Please stop. Like, literally, like, we were begging the spirit. We probably looked so crazy. We're like, please, not the smoke detector. It stresses the dogs out. It scares us. And you guys, I swear.
It hasn't happened
My
since.
hand on the Bible, which means a lot to me. It has not happened since. So that was one of the things that was like, oh my God. Like, we are on this path of it's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Around this time as well, Blue was in her fixation with the mirror in our bedroom.
Yes.
She was continuously at random points throughout the night, actually relatively
Usually
close
around
to 3
like
in the
3
morning.
a.m. Yeah, she would get up and like walk over to the mirror
Yes.
and just kind of sit in front of it and just stare at it.
But occasionally she would act like she was seeing something or following something in the mirror.
Like as if she was looking through it almost.
Absolutely. And at first we thought that it was cute because we thought, oh, look, she's
she's looking at herself.
And then over time we realized, I think I still have the
Yeah,
clip.
we're like, okay, we get it, you're cute, cut it out now. Like now you're freaking us out.
And so that was another thing. And if you guys have been on my channel, I've talked enormously about how mirrors, water often act as portals to other dimensions and a gateway for...
Nope, see, that's weird.
Look, now she's acting like she frickin' sees something on the chair.
And guys, I'm telling you, honest to God, there was no sound outside, no bang, no boom, no nothing. So I don't know what that was.
What'd you see, baby? But so around this time, as I was just saying,
Need a brushing,
Blue was acting as though the mirror was almost like a portal, and we were noticing that strange activity, which leads me also into, and I'm just briefly touching on this because as we mentioned, there's a ton to talk about, but both dogs, especially lately,
Yes.
have been noticing things within the room, and the strange thing is Ace especially, Ace
He usually doesn't react to things.
I was just
he
gonna
just minds
say,
his own business, chills out.
unless it's food, he's not alert and following anything around
He just
the
follows
room.
her lead. Like if she barks, like she
He'll
just did,
bark.
he'll be like, okay, what's going on? Like I got your back.
But the other night, Ace was literally, you guys, not just eyeballing something across the room.
No, like
but
he was following
physically
something.
following something, like as if he's following a person. Like he was walking along the couch, his eyes were moving, his
And
body
he, yeah,
was
he,
going.
and then he sat down and he was like looking.
Yeah.
Like, at nothing, but clearly something.
And it was super late at night, so we both got a little bit freaked out.
Yeah,
as well.
I just looked at her and I was like, okay, he never does this. Like he's looking at something.
But shortly after that incident with Ace, Blue in the middle of the night, we were down here on the couch, was acting as though she was following something as well. She wasn't physically following it like Ace was, but with her eyes and her head, she was following it.
Yeah.
So both of them
And
have
even
been...
last night, I gotta say, last night he was sitting on the edge of the couch, facing like where the window is, but our windows are closed. We have the shutters closed at night. And he was just sitting there, I would say for a good like 5 minutes, just like looking in the corner, like chilling.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, what's he doing?
Definitely. So that was a little bit bizarre as well. And if you guys have watched Tyler's previous video on the haunted house, you guys would know that whatever was coming within our home at one point was taking the form of either myself for Tyler or Tyler for myself.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and insert the link for that video down below in the comments and in the description. So after this video, you guys can go ahead, check that out, get the first update, and then you guys will kind of put everything together.
Because that is terrifying. That's still to this day, I get goosebumps when I think about it. But I had mentioned on my channel that I was showering, and not only was the dogs acting as though someone or something was in the room, but as I was showering with my eyes closed, I felt as though someone was watching me. I honestly thought that someone had came into the room, like Tyler had came into the room. When I looked up, it was as though there had been a handprint like smeared on the side of like our glass of our shower,
and like really high, so it's not like
high
it's
up.
not like you'd be getting in the shower after someone showered and like you'd put your hand there or
It's
anything.
also
It
not
was
even
like
a place that we
almost,
would ever reach our hands to put
it was
that.
like literally almost like on the ceiling almost.
Yeah, and our shower's very, very tall. But these are also things that we've kind of just got accustomed to in living here. Like these were just the types of things that
It's
were like...
nothing that like scares us,
Yeah.
right? We're like, okay, because we believe in it.
Yeah.
If it was something that was like super scary or we felt like threatened, then it would be a different situation. It's just very odd and like mysterious.
Which actually leads me into something terrifying now that you've mentioned it. So, as Tyler was just saying, majority of what we've been experiencing here has been things that we actually find interesting. And while it is a little bit eerie, it's not out of the realm of possibility for my life, nor yours, and we've just become accustomed to it. But what I will say is that there was one particular night, I'm not sure, we actually went back and forth last night as to whether or not you guys were told this yet, or if we told it on a game night or on a live stream. But there was one night that Tyler and I were sleeping, and a comfort thing for me when I sleep is I really like to hold Tyler's hand. Like, I'm always holding his hand like this throughout the night.
Yeah, this is a freaky one.
And I forget exactly what I was dreaming, but I remember at one point,
we both woke up at the same time.
Yeah, but something came within my face in the dream, and it looked demonic. I swear to God, it looked demonic, and it went like, or like something like that.
Yeah.
And it jerked me awake. But what was crazy was he jerked awake at the exact same time. And I knew it because our hands
So we both woke up, and she says like, oh, like I just had the craziest like nightmare, like whatever.
And at the same time,
and I'm like, me too. I'm like, I'll tell you in the morning. And then we went back to sleep, right? I didn't share with her what had happened. So when we woke up, I asked her, I'm like, oh, like, what was your nightmare? Because I had a crazy thing happen.
And pretty much at the same time, we both said that some sort of demonic entity came at us
like in our face and like did that sound, like, and we both like jolted up, like, what, like, what's going on?
Yeah, which was absolutely terrifying. Now, there are some things that Tyler's going to tell you that he experienced that has had him in chills since. But I do want to jump timelines quickly to another thing recently while we're on the topic of the spooky thing. I had told you guys that there was a couple of instances where I would wake up and see like a shadow in the room or a shadow watching over. And another thing that I really notice a lot is if you're like gaming or streaming or somewhere else and I'm sleeping in the bedroom, I feel as though there's something watching me a million times more than when you're with me.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I want to mention. But recently, Tyler has been, looking into all the different ways that we can improve our environment, bring more positive energy in and whatnot, because things have been getting out of control here. And one of the things that he had read up on, which I did know, but for other reasons, I just always wanted to have a mirror in the bedroom. But he had mentioned, we really shouldn't have a mirror in our bedroom. And I was like, I know, but I love having one. I love to like do the fit checks and stuff. And so Tyler's like, all right, we'll compromise. If you don't want to get rid of the mirror in the bedroom, I'll start covering the mirror. And so he's been covering the mirror at night so that we're able to have a good night's sleep and whatnot. And I had normal sleeps all the nights that it was covered. And there was one night that I don't know if we were out and we came home late or if we just went to bed late, but we had forgotten to put the cover over top of the mirror. And that night I had horrific dreams, and it was almost as though perhaps there was some sort of energy that maybe wasn't pleased that we had blocked the mirror.
It does change the energy.
Because it completely shifted everything. Since then, we've not had a moment of not covering the mirror, but that is something that we've also taken note of. But this is just scraping the surface. Let's get into like the crazier stuff that's been happening.
Yeah, so there's one that I'm gonna save for the end of the video because this is like no explanation. Yeah. This is 100% proof that something is in this house.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone to say that lightly.
Yeah.
But it was like the number one most proof I've ever had of something being around and me physically, like not in the corner of my eye, seeing something, like looking directly at it and seeing something happen. But we're gonna save that for the end, so make sure you guys watch to the end of this video.
And piggybacking off of like what he was just saying, Tyler's not the type of person whatsoever who will like have an experience and be like, oh, it's paranormal. Like, you're very like factual, you want the evidence, you want the proof. So for him to say that, it holds a lot of weight. There's something I want to mention before we get into some of the crazier stuff as well. This is mind-blowing to me, and I'm so curious to know your guys' opinions on all of this, but this in particular. There was one day that Tyler was at home, and I was out running some sort of errands, maybe getting groceries, I don't remember. But I had gotten myself a coffee. And so I had a coffee in the car with me, and I pulled up to the house, and I specifically remember that I had taken the keys to the house and I had them in my hand with the coffee in my hand and my bag and my phone in my other hand. So when I got up to the front door, I had to like maneuver how I was holding everything and make sure not to spill the coffee to open the front door, obviously. So I came inside and I had set the coffee down, set my purse down, said hello to Tyler, everything.
And then for a good like 5 minutes, she's running around the house like, okay, I swear I brought my coffee.
I couldn't find my freaking coffee.
Where is it? Like, she's looking everywhere, looking on the counter, like even went upstairs to check, like, okay, did I go upstairs? I didn't go upstairs, but I'm gonna go check anyways because I know I had it.
And so at one point he tells me, like, go check the car.
Yeah, like that's the only place it could be.
And I was actually annoyed with him because I was like, no, like I know for a fact because of how I had to unlock the door that I was trying to balance everything that I was holding in my hand in a way that wasn't gonna tilt the coffee so that it wouldn't spill. Like in my head I was like, why would I even waste my energy going outside and looking for the coffee? Well, eventually, like, the coffee's just nowhere to be found, so inevitably, I have to go outside to the car. You guys, my coffee, no word of a lie, was in the car. And to this day, I have no idea how that happened, whether that's to do with the haunted house or it was a glitch in the matrix or whatever the case may be. It freaked me the hell out because I knew, like, it wasn't one of those, like, oh, like, maybe
she was very, like,
I was
set,
adamant
like,
that I had brought the coffee into the house. Like,
and I'm like, I don't know, like, I didn't really see you when you came in, like, I only greeted you, like, after a few minutes you came in.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I'm like, just go check the car.
It was
and then she comes in and she's like, it was in the car.
So then on the note of this one again, Blue loves, like occasionally she loves to have the zoomies and she'll sometimes find herself upstairs with the zoomies.
Very often.
As we're here on the couch, you'll hear like boom, 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 boom. Like she's just like running all around.
So down here we have a lot of things. Upstairs, like we have a nice hallway and there's a room at the end of it and a room at the other end of it.
So it's like a racetrack.
Yeah, so both of them, her and Ace both love to just run back and forth together. And it was so weird because we're down here chilling and we could hear like, not crazy zoomies, but like as if someone is kind of walking
It didn't
upstairs.
sound like she had the zoomies. It also didn't sound like walking. It was like a pitter patter. Like,
yeah,
it was kind of like that. And he goes, oh no, she's upstairs. She's about to have the zoomies. And I'm like, oh, she's so cute. And then I hear, and I'm like, what the? And I look over.
And Ace is not one to go up by himself and zoom around.
No, Ace doesn't even go up or down the stairs.
And he was also on the couch.
And so we look over, and she's sleeping on the couch, and Ace is sleeping. Guys, we were so sure of what we heard and continued to hear that both of us went upstairs to be like, is someone here? And we knew no one was.
But you want to double check.
It's one of those things, and nothing was up there whatsoever, which leads me into the back porch.
Yeah, so this is honestly
bizarre.
One of the craziest things as well. And I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate to this because you probably experienced this sound. So
can I say something really quickly? I do want to note that you guys know that we will occasionally have experiences in this house where we'll suddenly hear like beep beep, which is like when one of our doors opens. We have an alarm system. So whenever any of our doors open, it makes like
beeps.
A beep beep. Like I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But we've had that experience before. This
is unbelievable.
Go ahead.
So again, like I said, you guys have maybe experienced this sound because a lot of you may have these, back stairs or things like that. And when you have kind of concrete stairs that aren't attached to the house, they wobble. And
not big time, but they make a little noise.
But they're not like level exactly, and they do like a little a little kind of like thump. Like when you walk on them, they'll kind of adjust. So knowing that sound, we barbecue a lot in the summer, and obviously we use the stairs a lot. We know that sound.
Now, I do want to mention that we don't have a fenced backyard right now. So what we have for the dogs is it's a fence, but it comes up to our back
steps. It's a portable fence.
But it comes up to exactly our door, and then it goes out into where the dogs go out.
So there's no way that someone
would be on our back
able
steps
to access those stairs. So we're sitting on the couch watching a movie, and I hear what sounds to be someone walking on the stairs. Like,
so he pauses the movie.
So I pause the movie, and right after I hear the doo-doo, our alarm goes beep beep. So I look over at Haley, and I'm like, okay, I literally just heard like as if someone's on the back stairs.
And then it sounded
like a door opening. But none of the doors are open. We could see all the doors from our main floor. None of the doors opened. None of the doors were unlocked. So we just sat there and were like absolutely puzzled. We didn't
looked.
know how to make sense of it. And I literally went to the backyard. I'm like, okay, is someone back there, you know, doing whatever? So I went to the backyard, turned the light on. There was no animals, no person, no nothing. So that was like, okay, that's absolutely strange.
It ties into this whole haunting in this house, because if you guys have watched the previous videos, which as he mentioned, if you haven't, they'll be linked, check them out. There was one point where it looked like there was like little kid shoes walking in our yard.
And we had just come back from doing a paranormal investigation, which there was supposed to be a little kid there.
Yeah, so it's not uncommon for backyard activities to be associated with this house too.
Now again, we don't think that there's something attached to the house. We think maybe there's something that comes and goes, or maybe sometimes we have an energy that may follow us.
And as I
but it's
mentioned
really,
before,
really strange.
Where we live is also said, obviously we haven't went through any like history books or anything of the sorts, but it is rumored to be known for burial grounds.
Yes.
So
it's a very old land that
absolutely.
they decided to build houses on.
Yeah, so I don't want to be cliche and say like that could be why, but it could be in the realm of possibility as to why so much activity comes and goes. Because we will tell you, it amps up, it gets crazier and crazier, and then we'll go a few weeks or months where like nothing happens. People will be like, what's going on with the haunted house? We're like, nothing. And then all of a sudden, once it starts again, it's like boom, 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 boom. So like he said, we don't believe that it's attached to us or that it's attached to our home. What I think is that it's attached to the land, and in the nature of what we do and what I do and our openness to
it's attracted because
to our home.
Also when people notice it, they're like, oh, okay, I'm allowed to be noticed by these people, so let me frequent there.
Absolutely.
So before we get into the really, really crazy 100% proof paranormal experience I had, there is another one that was driving us a little bit crazy.
It makes no sense. So we've told you guys in the past how one of the things that whatever this pesky spirit or spirits enjoy doing is misplacing things for us.
Yes.
But never to this extreme.
Multiple times this has happened.
Never to this extreme.
No.
This was a whole new level. So
it was a couple days that we couldn't find it.
So Tyler and I were watching TV or a movie, and we had the remote on the coffee table in our other living room. And all of a sudden, the remote disappears.
Yeah,
okay?
so we're going to bed, and we're like, okay, let's turn off the TV, blah, blah, blah. Where's the remote? We don't know where the remote is. So I have to manually turn it off.
No, but at first we looked.
Yeah, well, obviously.
We looked in the blank, and we're like, it's late, like, it's not that serious. Go click the TV, shut it off. So that's what we did. So as I was saying, we did a little bit of looking, as one does, and then we're like, it's late, it's not that serious, we'll find it tomorrow. Tomorrow rolls around, it's not found. And it was honestly like a joke to us at this point. Like, for a couple of days, we're like, haha, like, how did we lose the remote this badly? But as the days went on...
So we kind of just left it, and we're like, okay, we're going to come across it somehow, like... Maybe it's somewhere. When we move something, we'll find it.
And our house is not cluttered. No. There's not a million places it could be. So we're getting to a point where now we're starting to get irritated, because now it's not funny anymore. It's irritating.
Yeah, like we need the remote for the TV.
And so we're looking in places, again, that you would just never look for the remote. Like places that we knew the remote wasn't. In our guest bedroom, in the offices. Like, how did it go from the coffee table to the office in one night while we're watching something? But when you're like desperate to find something, you start looking everywhere. You guys, we couldn't find it for days. And then it got to a point where, I don't know if I said it to you or you said it to me, but we were like, do you think the spirit moved it? And we jokingly were like, hey, you know, it's us again, the one that talked to you about the fire alarm.
If
like,
you're messing with us, like, give us back the remote.
Yeah, like, return it. And a little bit...
Later that night.
Yeah, a little bit later, we find the remote on, like, right at the edge of underneath of our TV stand, which we looked under.
Yeah, I opened all the cabinets, everything. Like, that's the first place you would look. Okay, where do I put my electronics? Like, on the TV stand.
Yeah.
First place you look. Nothing was in there.
It was there, which, number one, we have no clue how it would have flown across the room without us knowing and landed under there in the first place. But secondly, there's no way we could have missed it. We have dark wood floors, and the remote would have standed out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. And the funny thing is when you drop a remote, the batteries pop out, the back falls, like...
And you hear it.
And yeah, and you hear it. You're like, okay, I dropped the remote. It was perfectly intact. No batteries fell out, no nothing. It was like someone was like, oh, this is a good hiding place. Like, they're not going to find it here. It was so strange.
But we had looked there. Genuinely, both of us had looked there multiple times.
Tore apart the couch, like nothing there. Like, it was just weird.
It was bizarre.
But with that being said, we're going to be getting into the final proof of this paranormal experience.
Yeah.
And guys, you might want to turn a light on for this one. It's nothing insane. This isn't going to freak you out, but if you don't really like scary things like this, maybe turn a light on. But we're having a movie night. Yeah. We're hanging out, and we have lights like this. We have multiple lights like this one that you can see in the background that has like the lasers.
You guys have definitely seen them. They went viral all over YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. They're like the starry night lights. So we have multiple of them. We have 3 downstairs alone. We have 3 upstairs. We have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so in our like living room where we have the TV and couch, we have 1 on each side of the room. 1 in the front, 1 in the back, and it lights up the ceiling.
Yeah.
So we're watching a movie.
I fall asleep.
Yeah, she fell asleep. So I'm by myself at this point. And I'm not watching anything scary. And I'm just hanging out.
And you got a weird feeling, you told me.
No, so what happened was I saw a light from outside, like a flash. So right away, like, I look at the front door and I pause the TV.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, like, if it's someone getting in the car, like, they're going to turn the car on or, like, something. The light's going to go back on. Like, maybe they just unlocked it.
Another reason why he was so on alert was around this time, we were being told that there was a lot of car thieves.
Yeah.
Who were stealing people's cars.
So that's why I paused the TV, because I'm like, okay,
wanted to make sure
I want to hear, like, if a car turns on, like, I'm going to go check it out, like, whatever, right? So I paused the TV, and I'm sitting there, and about 10 seconds after I seen that flash, in the corner of my eye, I can see the laser light, right? So I'm like, okay, that's weird. And as I'm looking at the front door and listening, I see something kind of break the light of the laser, like as if something passed through it. So now I'm focusing on the lasers now. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. Like, did I imagine that? Like, is my mind playing tricks on me? So now I'm like focused on the laser, not focused on the door anymore. And as I'm watching, I'm literally getting chills as I'm explaining
you have goosebumps.
this. And I'm looking at the laser, and it happens again, but the opposite way. Like as if something went past this way and then decided to go back. And I'm getting a lot of chills. Like, I'm freezing right now.
Yeah.
So it freaked me out so much.
He actually has goosebumps.
Yeah, like, so I'm looking at the laser, and in the corner of my eye, I see the thing go past the first time, like literally block the light. And I'm like, whoa, like, okay, let's see if that happens again. Like, maybe it's the cycle of the light, you know, like it dims and then goes back on. So I'm watching it, and it goes back the other way. And I'm like, okay, weird. Okay, maybe it's the cycle of the light. And I'm watching it for a good 5 minutes. It never happens again. It wasn't part of the cycle.
And it's never happened since.
And it never happened since.
So,
something absolutely walked in front of the laser light.
From my perspective, really quickly, I woke up probably around an hour after this had happened. And I looked over, and Tyler looked pale as a ghost, no pun intended, and he looked all freaked out. And I asked him, I'm like, what's wrong? And he goes, babe, I haven't wanted to move. I haven't wanted to go anywhere. I'm so freaked out. He goes, I know for a fact there's a spirit in here. He's like, I know for a fact now. He goes, not that like all the other crazy things didn't lead me to believe that there truly is something in here. He's like, but there is zero explanation for that.
And like, I had no doubt. Like, I know what I saw. I was looking directly at it, same way I'm looking at the camera right now, like focused on it. And I literally just see, again, like a figure walk right past the laser light. And so the next day, I'm like, I have to show you what I saw. Like, I have to explain it to you so you really see, like, you get the image of what I saw. So I turn the lasers on, and I do the motion of, like, someone walking past it. And even for myself, like, seeing it happen, I'm like, that's literally exactly what I saw, but not so much of taking up the light because I'm clearly a physical person. It was just like a figure, a shadow, like something going through and breaking that connection of the light. And for a good 5 minutes after it happened, I honestly sat there and I was like, I was a little bit scared. I'm like,
you were so scared.
I was like looking around the house. I'm like, okay, what just happened? Like,
he told me he didn't even want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
he
I'm
didn't
like,
want to go anywhere.
I'm like, for a good half an hour, I'm like, I'm not getting up. I'm not going anywhere. Like,
he goes, I was scared to wake you up because I didn't want to scare you too. I'm like, you could have woke me up.
no, I'm like, I'm not gonna tell her now because like it's approaching 3 a.m. Like, not gonna tell her at night. I'll tell her tomorrow in the daytime.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want her to freak out. But guys, 100%, I swear from my heart, like this is absolutely true. I know what I saw. I have no doubt. I don't question it.
Yeah.
It was the most crazy thing I have ever experienced with paranormal. And the fact that it happened twice is like, how can I even question it? Like, I was looking right at it.
There's no way to like justify it in the physical realm.
It was so strange.
So that's kind of like a general update of some of the things that have been happening here. As we mentioned, like so much has been happening that if we were to sit here and tell you every little creepy thing that happens in this house when the haunting does pick back up every time, we'd be here all day, all night. I'm not even exaggerating in that. But these are just like the pivotal things that lead us to believe like we're not crazy. We're not trying to like find paranormal things happening. It's honestly happening. But yeah, that's just some of the crazy things that have happened. And so many of you guys always ask the both of us if things have been happening. And the reason that there hasn't been too many updates recently was because for a while it had simmered down. And then when it picked back up, it went full throttle. And that's why we're here.
And we just wanted to bring you everything at once. And then especially when that laser thing happened, we're like, okay, it's time for an update because this is like proof. But there you guys have it, the new update of our paranormal experiences in this house. And again, make sure you guys go check out the first update down below in the description and in the comment. I'm gonna go ahead and pin it. Check that out and you guys can put everything together.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna go ahead and close out this video here. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have had any weird paranormal experiences and what you guys think about our experiences.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, definitely let us know in the comments your opinions on all the things. What freaked you out the most? What would be your breaking point in a haunted house? Like, what would be the thing that could occur in your home that you're like, I'm out, I'm packing. The house is yours. Let us know down in the comment section below because we love reading through those comments and hearing all of your guys' thoughts and opinions. They do not go unnoticed.
Everyone loves a good ghost story.
Absolutely.
But all right, we're going to go ahead and close it out. I want to thank you guys so much for your love and support that you guys continuously give me and Haley.
Yeah.
So go ahead, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload or when I go live. But we will see you guys in my next video. Peace.